Hello guys, what is up? My name is Dylan. Welcome to the Popcorn Podcast. I hope you're all doing fantastic. First of all, can I just say how awesome it is to be back in a cinema, in an IMAX screening. Not just in a cinema, of course, not just in an IMAX screening, but watching an MCU film for the first time in I think about 2 years. You know, the last one of these that we all got to see was Spider-Man Far From Home. And then of course we have this one, Black Widow, which was supposed to come out last year, and of course COVID happened and it got delayed a year, and we are here right now. So let's get straight into the review then. Black Widow takes place after the events of Civil War and follows Natasha Romanoff as she's forced to confront a dangerous conspiracy that ties into her past. Hunted by Taskmaster, a force that will stop at nothing to bring her down, Natasha must work together with her sister Yelena, her mother Melina, and father, the once respected Red Guardian, to uncover the truth behind the infamous Red Room and prevent multiple future world catastrophes. Okay, so I've always wanted to see a solo Black Widow movie. To be honest, ever since I saw her in Iron Man 2 for the first time, you know, Natasha's past is something that the MCU has always sort of teased, you know, with Hawkeye and her references to Budapest in the first Avengers film, or even, you know, the mind control flashbacks that we got to see a little bit of in Age of Ultron. And just overall, I think Natasha Romanoff, for me personally, has always been one of the best and most intriguing characters that these films have put out. So naturally, I was really excited to see Black Widow. Okay, so what did I think then? Well, to be honest, I think that this is another solid entry into this franchise. I do think Black Widow had the potential to be one of the best Marvel films in recent years. But overall, I think this film lands in sort of mid-tier MCU. So as you might have guessed, I do have a couple of problems with the film, but before we do get onto those, I'm going to talk about what I actually enjoyed. So first off the bat, the performances are great. I think Scarlett Johansson once again absolutely kills it as Natasha Romanoff. This is easily the best she's ever been in the entire franchise, and rightfully so. And then you have my my current celebrity crush, Florence Pugh. You guys have seen the memes, you know, Florence Pugh. Who plays Natasha's sister Yelena in this film, and she absolutely kills it as well. I think she's easily one of the best parts about this film, and the chemistry that both Florence and Scarlett have together is definitely one of the highlights of Black Widow. You know, it is something that really makes the script and a lot of the scenes that take place really flourish. And I think Florence Pugh is such, you know, she's such a talented actress. And if you don't, or you haven't seen any of her previous work, I highly recommend checking some of that out. I cannot wait to see what the MCU has in store for her and for her character. Speaking of great performances, Rachel Weisz and David Harbour in their mum and dad roles in this film are terrific, especially the latter, who, by the way, is just hilarious throughout the runtime of this film. I think that actually brings me on to another strength of this film, which is the comedy. I actually thought the humor worked really well, you know. With most MCU films, they are typically very funny, but sometimes they do tend to, you know, overdo the joke, and it can be unnecessary in my opinion. But I found no traces of that here in Black Widow. I thought the humor was used really effectively with the right amount at the right time. I think David Harbour's character in particular, he was used to deliver a lot of the laughs, and there's this ongoing joke that Florence Pugh's character Yelena has with her sister Natasha about, you know, whenever she's an Avenger and whenever she's in combat, she's always doing a pose of some sort and, you know, flicking her hair back. And I thought that was actually pretty hilarious. So yeah, once again, a surprisingly something I didn't expect to enjoy as much going in, because this film had a very serious tone, or I thought it did, but you know what? I'm pleasantly surprised with that. So Kate Shortland is the director of this film, and she's someone whose work I'm not too familiar with. But what she does really well here in Black Widow, I think, is really focus on the characters and the relationships they have with each other, and use those to make us invested. I think she's done quite a few small indie films, and right from the opening scene here in Black Widow, you can tell this is a filmmaker who has a very character-orientated approach. But whilst she does have a lot of strengths as a director, particularly with regards to infusing a lot of emotion into some of the scenes in this film, you can tell she's not that experienced with shooting, big action sequences. I'd say the action was handled fairly well for the most part, but some of those, one-on-one, hand-to-hand combat fights, I thought could have been better shot. There's a lot of close-ups used, and that might work well for those character building moments, but some of the fight scenes, I couldn't really tell what was going on at some points. And I don't know if that's just because I was watching it on a massive IMAX screen, or if it was the way that the film was actually shot. But yeah, I'd say some of those fight sequences at times did look a little messy. And the editing style as well was very quick and frantic. There was a lot of cut. I do wish those sequences had a little more filmmaking variety. By all means, use those close-ups and use those, that snappy editing approach. But I don't know, just maybe switch it up, use some long takes to really, help us to appreciate the fight choreography and the stunt work. But yeah, overall, I do think it was okay. The film also has some nice visual variety. There are a lot of different locations, there are a lot of different costumes, and for a story that is typically more dark and more dystopian in its tone, it was nice to see some vibrancy in the overall aesthetic. Moving on to the mixed aspects and sort of negatives, I found the villains of the film to be rather underwhelming, and the main conflict that takes place, I wasn't really that invested in. Well, main conflict, there are two main conflicts. There's the main plot where Natasha and her family are trying to sort of infiltrate the Red Room and stop this big bad guy played by Ray Winston from essentially taking over the world, your typical bad guy plot. But who, by the way, Ray Winston, I think he was severely miscasted. I don't know what they were thinking. Some of the scenes that he was in, almost cartoony. And to be honest, when he first came on screen, I almost laughed. That other main conflict is the dynamic Natasha has with her family and how they are broken. And that, to me, is where the film flourishes, seeing those relationships and how they evolve through the runtime. That's where the film flourishes. And that was probably the most exciting aspect of this film for me. There is a pacing issue that the film experiences in the middle of the runtime when the action sequences come to a halt, and these four characters, so essentially Natasha's family, are all huddled up in this one location. And whilst I do like those scenes individually, I do have to say that the pacing did suffer as a result. The film did drag a bit during that part of the runtime. One of the characters that I was really looking forward to seeing in Black Widow was Taskmaster. If you're a Marvel fan, you will of course be no stranger to Taskmaster. I think he's one of the most he's one of the coolest villains, villains for Spider-Man, villains for Captain America that these superheroes have in their rogues gallery. He is someone who can mimic any fighting style or fighting pattern, and he's essentially unbeatable. And from the trailers, he looked like a fucking badass. But he was just cool. He was cool, but that was it. So a little disappointed on that side. of the character aspects, but it was okay. I think my way of sort of summing up my thoughts on Black Widow can be as follows. I think Black Widow is once again, another solid entry into the MCU. But I do also think that it suffers as a result of when it is released as well. So it coming out now doesn't do the story and the characters that many favors. I do think that it is a film that should have been released before Infinity War and would have had a bigger impact if it had that placement. So my recommendation to you guys would be, if you are ever doing, you know, an MCU marathon or a MCU rewatch party, first of all, invite me, but secondly, make sure you watch Black Widow after Civil War but before Infinity War. I think this film packs a much harder punch with that particular placement. But overall, you know, I'm not disappointed. I do think the film had potential to do better and be better as a result. But overall, I am satisfied with the main thing, which is the characters. And I do think Scarlett Johansson's, you know, her legacy as this character, as Natasha Romanoff, is still very much intact, and it was great to see her, if this is the last time she is in this role, it was great to see her have this send-off. And at the same time, it's really exciting as a fan of the MCU and as a big fan of Florence Pugh, to see where her character is gonna go in this franchise, in this story. So yeah, overall, I'm gonna give Black Widow a B. So that is it, guys. Those are my overall thoughts on Black Widow. Let me know what you guys thought of the film down below in the comments section. I will love to hear if you thought it was one of the best MCU films, if you thought it was one of the worst MCU films, or if you're somewhere like me in between as well. And of course, if you did enjoy this review, be sure to leave a like, and of course, if you are new to the channel, feel free to subscribe. If you are someone who loves movies, if you love the discussion around movies, this is the place for you. So feel free to do that. It will help me out a lot. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching the video, and I will catch you very soon in the next.